Hey friends, and welcome to another video review. This time we are going to be looking at the Revenge of the Fallen Aerialbots. This is actually the very first combiner set I've ever owned. And I will put on record that this is a repaint of the Energon Superion Maximus combiner. And if I can be completely honest with you guys, I have always liked the Aerialbots. I know some people hate them, some people just like them, but I've always found the Aerialbots interesting. That's probably because my old friend Chris Goodwin is an expert with planes and jets, and we both had like a mutual admiration for aerial vehicles. So I guess I've had a soft spot for the Autobot jet guys. So anyway, like I said, this is a repaint of the Energon Superion Maximus combiner, and basically what how that kind of combiner works is that you get two of one mold, two of another mold, and then the core guy is a separate mold altogether. So basically what this is with one version or with one set of mold brothers, one would be an arm and the other would be a leg. But this works a lot like the Scramble City combiners in the sense that you can mix and match them. Any one of these figures can be an arm or a leg. But for me, I think these A10 Warthog guys make better legs, and the F-22 looking jets make better arms. Actually, I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. Honestly, as far as the Energon figure goes, like the only names that I could remember from the Energon figure is that this guy was known as Stormjet, and this guy was known as Treadshot, I believe. The other three, I have no idea. But in Generation 1, this guy was Air Raid, Skydive, Silverbolt, Fireflight, and Slingshot. Now, I believe on the packaging, they called this guy Air Razor, but it doesn't look like an Air Razor to me. Air Razor to me is the female Maximal from Beast Wars. So, anyway, so let's get these guys transformed. I'm going to start with Slingshot and Air Raid. I'm going to start by taking the weapons off. Going to bring the legs down and fold up the landing gear. Bring the arms out. Fold the nose down. Turn the head around. And fold that up. And that's Air Raid. These would plug into his hands, and they could be guns like that. They could become forks, or you could even plug them into the underside of his hand like tonfas. Whatever you want to do. This is only necessary for the combined mode, so alright, let's take those pieces off. And let's do the same for Slingshot. And there we go. Fork in one hand. And you can also do the gun like that if you want. Now, Fireflight and Skydive, they're A10 Warthogs, so the guys also have these goggles, which are kind of loose on mine, but Actually, I think these might be upside down right here. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. So, now to transform these guys, fold up the landing gear, detach the turbines, and you spin these around. And I believe you also turn the tail fins up, like that. And then you bring this section down, which is his head. And then you fold the whole wing section to the back, plug his head in, turn his head around, and raise the goggles to show his face. Separate his legs, form his feet. And then finally, you plug his weapon into his hand. Okay. Now to transform Skydive, it's the exact same thing. And his goggles popped off. Wonderful. So, flip that around. Flip that around. And got Skydive. There he is. Now, Silverbolt, he's a Concorde. Yeah, I dig him. Transform him, again, fold up the landing gear, detach the nose, bring his legs down, extend them, and, well, extend the lower legs, and then turn them at the knee, like that. And you're also going to want to fold down his foot and his heel. And then going to want to turn the nose around, bring this down, bring that panel down, and bring these side pieces down. There are little tabs that peg into the side of his shoulders, so they hold more steadily. And then straighten out the forearms and turn the head around. And that is Silverbolt. And as you can see, the Aerialbots. They don't exactly look like their old GM1 selves, but they definitely look nice enough. The limb guys, they pretty much all have the same articulation, like the rotating head, the ball-jointed shoulders, ball-jointed elbows, hips, knees, hinged ankles. The A10 guys, due to their transformations, they have the additional waist rotation, and they have these goggle things. Silverbolt, on the other hand, he has double-jointed elbows, and he also has a forearm twist right there. Hinged knees, thigh rotation, head. Yeah. They're all pretty posable. And if you're wondering why I'm sniffling, I'm kind of fighting a cold. I mean, it's that time of year, so. Anyway, so let's get these guys into Superion. Now, basically, you want to turn the limb guys back into their vehicle modes. With the exception of Silverbolt, you can get to his combined mode form from his robot mode. So, there we go. these up. Okay. Now, if you want the A10 guys to be arms, basically what you want to do is you want to fold the wings up, fold their weapons in half, and then with this gun up here, you would plug it into their weapons like this. Sort of like a claw weapon. And you would fold this joint down. Me, though, I don't like that too much. You can open that up, and if you want him to be a foot, you open his legs back up, fold his feet down, and there's a peg right here, and there's a hole inside there. Just try to plug that in, and then that onto the weapon, and that's him as a leg. Pretty simple. And I'm gonna do the same for that's skydive, so fireflight. Okay, I'm gonna do the same for fireflight. Why am I doing it like this? Well, I believe that the A10 guys make better legs, while the F-22 twins make better arms. But like I said, I have no idea what the hell air raid and slingshot are supposed to be, so bring the forearms around, twist the fins back, and come on. Okay, plug them on like that. He's ready to go. Now, I guess I'll show the foot form for slingshot first. So, fold these in, and then you want to take the waist and split it right in half, and bring it around. Bring the lower legs around. Now, if you want these guys to be legs, you want to take their robot arms and plug them into their calves. And then, I think I was using this one for slingshot. You would plug them in, and then you would bring these hooks up and attach them like this. Actually, I think I did it backwards. There we go. Now it's stiffer. So, yeah. There is slingshot as a leg. If you want him to be an arm, though, you would fold these down like this, and then detach his robot arms from the legs, and fold this combiner port down. And why isn't this holding? Okay. There we go. That's better. So, that's him as an arm. Now, a lot of people would leave the forearms or the robot arms attached to the calves, but I don't do that, and you'll see why in a moment. But let's get air raid ready to go. Turn the lower legs around, split his waist, bring the combiner port down, and then, which way was it? This way? And gotta plug them in and hook them into place like that. Now Silverbolt, being the core guy, he gets the most complicated transformation. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't explain that. Tuck his robot head away, lift this up and back for the time being. Then you want to turn these down, take his shoulders and fold them in, turn his forearm to where the fist is pointing outward, then turn the bicep out, and then there's a peg back here that'll plug into his fist, like that. And that. And then what I like to do is, these panels right here, I like to take the white bit and fold it out and have it point towards the waist piece. It's just something I like to do. Now, his legs, I like to turn them around like this to where the screws are pointing forward, because there are pegs like right here on his inner thighs. And then you turn the lower legs around, fold up his heels and feetums, then you fold the legs back up, and then you slide them upward to expose the combiner pegs, and then Silverbolt's lower legs would peg into the inner thighs like that. Like that. Bring the cockpit back around, then you open the nose, bring the Superion head around, and a little bit of detail is there's an Autobot symbol molded in there. That's pretty nice. And now for combination. Air Raid is the right arm, while Slingshot is the left. So, we've got those two. And let's plug in Skydive and Fireflight. Come on. Oh, slid down. And actually, there we go. And that fell off right there. Come on. Peg back on. There we go. As you can see, Superion. Not the best combiner out there, but he works for me. Now, the reason on the arm guys that I didn't leave the regular arms plugged into the calves is because it leaves the lower legs ball joints free so that you can give him an elbow. It's a curling elbow, but hey, it's an elbow. Speaking of arm articulation, they do have the full 360, and they can click outward. My figure's kind of loose, so please forgive me. Actually, there we go. Legs, and click, and forward, back, out, bend at the knee, fall off of the knee, And there is a rotation at the knee, so... Peg this back on. Yeah, this figure's pretty old, so you're gonna have to expect pieces to fall off. But his head can also rotate, should you so desire. Now, this is by no means a perfect combiner. It has its faults. But I like it, though. It's not perfect, like I said, but... you know, I still like it. Would I recommend him? That's a tough one. If you like the Energon combiners, then go ahead and get him. But if you want, like, a really good Superion combiner, you might as well spring for the Combiner Wars figurines. I mean, those are in my mind, those are better made than this, but hey, that's not to say that this figure is bad. He just has its faults. Final verdict, I think he's worth about a 7.5 out of 10. So, if you see this guy, you know, go ahead and get him if you want him. But if you, like I said, if you want a really good Superion combiner, you're better off springing for the Combiner Wars guys. So, yeah, that's about it. So, until next time, guys, thank you for watching.